9 podcasts.
I've been a really, really, really good Nepo baby.
My guess is I've been a daddy's little princess my whole life.
Likely. Highly
Very
likely.
practical,
Yeah.
as always. All right, let's hear what it was.
Try. Try before you die.
Why am I dressed for the snow and you're dressed for a day at the beach?
Because it's the last day of it being sort of okay weather. It's 19 today. And now it's winter.
Okay, wonderful. Well, if you live in another state, sorry, none of that's relevant to you, but I'm just letting you know that
Well, if you live in Tasmania, it's relevant to you. In Canberra,
because it's cold.
because it's freezing cold.
Okay, and Adelaide?
No, Adelaide's not bad. Better than here.
Riveting. Guys,
You brought it up.
I know, I regret it. We've had no new reviews lately on iApple or iSpotify. So do you guys even like us is the question I want to ask.
Is anyone even listening?
Does anyone even want us to continue?
Hello. That's
hello.
me. That's echoing.
It's
'Cause
me.
there's no one, you know.
Yes, got it. I promise as we go into this episode, there will be no vomit chat today.
I also promise.
Because I know it can be off-putting for some people. Because we have legitimate phobics. There was a name for it and I forget
Yes.
it. I'm making that up.
Onomatopoeia, something like that.
Onomatopoeia. If you have onomatopoeia.
What is onomatopoeia again? That's
no,
like
it's some sort of
something
word.
to do with literature,
All right,
isn't it?
Rich is doing a Google of onomatopoeia. What things
I swear
sound like
it's something
that
to
they
do
are.
with smarts.
Well, what's an example of onomatopoeia? What sounds like it is?
Onomania. No, that's the shopping. That's the bit.
No, Rich, our producer's not even
Vomitophobia.
listening to our show, and we're 1 second in. What was the shopping binge habit?
Oniomania.
Oniomania is the shopping binge
Yes.
habit we have. Now we're crossing to the
Emetophobia
is also now the vomit phobia we
And
have.
what is onomatopoeia?
What is onomatopoeia?
God, how do you even spell that, Gear?
The
The formation of a word from a sound associated with what it is named. What?
like sizzle. It's like
So sizzle sounds like a sizzle. You know, cuckoo sounds like cuckoo. Like they are words
Doesn't
that sound
every
like what they
sound
are.
sound like what it is? Meow.
That's one.
Woof.
Yeah.
What isn't a
Neigh?
sound? What isn't a sound that
Yeah,
doesn't?
that's weird.
Largely, see, it says here a relatively large number of bird names arise by onomatopoeia.
I'm so glad we've covered all that off.
I promise you, I'm getting dumber
Same.
with each ep we do.
Same.
Like,
Here we go. Look, boom, zap, pow, wow, wham,
That's fine, Rich.
whoosh.
But what's an example of not onomatopoeia?
yeah.
Every word you just said. Like,
Meow.
But they're not a sound.
like beach doesn't sound like what it is.
Oh, no, but a sound. Oh, we're talking about sounds. Beach is just a word.
So the formation of a word from a sound associated with what it's named.
I reckon we take some scissors to this segment and remove it. Anyway, if you're just as confused as us,
Oh,
this was a...
Do you know what, though? I'm going to now not
I
be able to
know.
stop thinking about that.
I know, me neither. I won't be able to sleep. But that was a terrible way
To introduce our podcast.
to
this
introduce
week.
our podcast, especially when we're begging for more reviews. I'm so sorry about that. But let's go into something nice. I'd like to give a shout out to Helen Lib.
Yes.
She came up to us at a cafe in South Melbourne on the weekend. I cannot tell you how much I love it when someone comes up to us. Like me way more than you. I don't know why. I'm just more of a people person. You've really shut yourself
No,
off from the
it's
world.
not that I don't love it. It's just that I don't get so overexcited that everyone's turning around and looking at me. I'm just a bit more.
Who's
I'm just a
everyone
bit
that's turning around and
calmer.
looking at you? I'm talking about one person occasionally.
No, I'm talking about when someone comes over, my reaction isn't like, oh my God, do you want to have a photo? Like, I still
Neither does
appreciate
mine.
it the same as you do, but I'm just not so over the top about it.
Okay. Well, I jizz in my pants.
Yeah.
And I especially lose the plot when they talk about being a fan of the podcast. And Helen was.
Yes.
And I'm especially honoured when people look smart and educated. And Helen did look both of those things, didn't she?
Yes, she did. She looked well put together. She had a daughter and her mum, I think, with her, or her sister,
No,
or
don't
something.
quote that
What did
because
she have?
maybe her husband and her daughter.
Maybe husband, daughter, friend, I think.
I can't
Anyway,
remember.
whatever.
It's irrelevant.
But she brought everyone over and it was joyous.
It was truly joyous. And I can only speak for myself when I say it makes my day, my week, my month, and maybe even my year
Yep, you
when
speak
something
for me
like that
too.
happens, because I live quite a grim, sad, not eventful existence. So just know that kind of thing is the highlight of my life.
And also, do you know what we find when people come up to us? They always apologise. They're like, oh, so sorry to bother you. I didn't know whether I should come up. If you're ever questioning that, please come up. There is never going to be an occasion where we don't froth it.
Do you know where I would especially like it? On a date.
What do you mean?
If I was on a date and someone came up and said, "Oh my gosh, do you mind if I get a photo?" I mean,
That
no one
sounds so
How good would that be?
floggy. What? So the person you're with is like, oh my God, this person's a
What?
celebrity.
a power move.
Ooh, that is gross. That
But
is one of
no
the
one-
grossest things you've ever said.
But no one ever asks when we're separately, because it's only us in context, and
Yeah.
even then they're a bit confused.
Yeah.
Like, did I go to school with you? So, but just letting you know, if I'm ever on a date, especially come up to me. So I don't go on dates, so that's never going to happen anyway. We
Exactly.
can move on from that. But Helen's favourite podcasts are ours and the Imperfects. I mean, have you ever received a greater compliment?
Never. What good company to
But
be in.
everyone needs a bit of light and shade, don't they? Light and shade, light and shade. We are not the Imperfects are shade.
No, but it's in light and
Depth.
shade in terms of, yes, depth and education
Depth and
and
education.
transformative.
Versus
Poop chat
laughs and jovialness.
and maybe some offensiveness when we talk about vomit and discharge and
It's,
stuff.
as we say, we're the reality TV of the podcast world.
Correct.
Where you just want mind-numbing gear, don't you, really?
But doesn't it just go to show that you can listen to all different sorts of things? You know, she listens to all this
Yes.
transformative stuff and then you've got our gear.
Yeah.
So you can do
Light
both.
and shade. That's what I'm saying. Our sister Scarlett. She gets a lot of mentions on this podcast, doesn't she?
Mostly not super positive and she always gets quite agitated when we mention her.
She's given us a list of things we can't talk about.
Yeah.
I can't possibly bring up the list of what they are, because we have been told we will be disowned and she will never cooperate with us
No,
ever
she
again.
won't give her Labubu to us to use.
Yeah. So our sister Scarlett sent us a TikTok, and that TikTok was of a vet pulling out a large chunk of dog hair from a dog's ear. And the reason she sent it to us is because, especially me, I'm obsessed with pimple popping.
Yeah.
Rich, our producer, do you pull out hair from your dog's ears?
No, they don't really have any.
Have you ever even looked? Is the question I put to you.
Yeah.
No, I have to clean the black lab's ears because he gets gunk in there. Yeah, but
What
it's not
comes-
fun. It's not satisfying. No, I know exactly what you're thinking, Eliza,
Yeah.
because I love a good pimple
Same.
video,
Yeah.
but it's not satisfying because it's really difficult.
What comes out? Is it wax that comes
Yeah,
out of
it's
their
like,
ears?
it almost looks like dried blood, their type of wax.
I don't think
It's
this is any
stinky
better than
too.
vomit chat, if I'm honest. But
Yeah, what are we doing?
is it stinky?
It is a bit stinky.
Oh wow. Anyway, it was so satisfying. Absolute filth to watch, but it was so satisfying. And do you know what Lib's response was? It was, I can't believe Mum used to make me do that every day with Minnie's ears, which is our passed away dog.
Okay. So to give some context, with our old dog Minnie, as you said, she's no longer with us. God rest her.
in peace.
Absolute soul. So mum or dad would hold her because obviously she would get, someone pulling our hair out of your ears is quite painful. And I would get a tissue and reach down so far into her ears with like my pointer finger and my thumb and just yank with quite a lot of force the hair out of her ears.
Why? Is it because they can't hear if it's in there?
Apparently, yeah. And it just, like Rich was saying before, generates clumps of shit, and often it would be genuinely dried blood and wax. And because when you think about it, their ear canals are quite open, and they're rustling around in the dirt and rolling around in their own shit and stuff.
They're less open than ours because they've got ears covering their
No, but,
ears.
but think about how much they just roll around in their own filth.
But they've got their ears to cover it.
Yes, but when they're rolling around, ears flat back, so they're getting crap all in there. You can imagine because they literally roll around in shit. Our dog used to roll around its own shit, eat its own vomit, all that.
Yeah.
So
Do you know what? She would come in most days and have just
crap
shit down her neck.
Exactly.
It was her neck.
So that ends up. So I'm essentially pulling out hair with shit, vomit, like God knows what else.
You said the V word.
Oh, sorry. I just had to. I didn't actually. It wasn't like a vomit story as such, but it was just mentioning the word.
Okay.
And before people come at me for animal cruelty, apparently it is, like the vet said,
To
it
do
is
it.
something that you should do. Because they have dags hanging off.
They have ear
stuff.
dags. Okay, so where was I when this was happening? And I moved out by
I
this
actually
point.
don't know. And I don't know why I did it, but I did it all the time. And I weirdly liked it at the time. I found it really satisfying. I think about it now, and it truly makes me
And
gag.
was
I
she
don't know
uncomfortable? Was she screaming and
why.
stuff?
Well, my dad would like hold her down.
I wonder if it hurts them because when you just pluck a single hair from anywhere, it absolutely canes. Like
think
when
it
I'm
does. I don't
plucking my
think it-
moustache, it canes.
I don't think it's a comfortable thing for them, but then it provides comfort for them after when they don't have vomit dags hanging from their ears.
Did you dry retch each time?
I think I sort of did dry retch, but I found it weirdly satisfying as well. I don't know. I don't, because I did it for years. But now the thought of it, there's no way you could pay me to even do that again now.
I think we must, at a later point, ring Mum. I just want to double check this story. I feel like you're making it up. Or maybe you did it once and
Why
you're
would I
taking...
make that up? It's disgusting. I don't particularly want to be associated with doing
Because
that.
you sound brave.
Do you know what though? When we're back in Adelaide now with our new dog Dot, who's well and
Yeah.
truly alive, and I see Mum cleaning the guzzy out of her eyes
The eye gauzy is
and
something
the
else.
dingleberries off her
Anus.
anus, I want to. Truly, it truly makes me violently ill. I
Okay.
don't know who I was in that life when I cleaned the ears.
Rich.
Yeah.
You may as well just keep your microphone on.
I'm scared.
Do you do eye gauze on your two dogs?
Oh yeah, that's fun, but it's just like little.
Fun. I draw the line at eye gauze.
No, but it's just like these little dried black sleep things. It's like our sleep.
What about poo dags off the anus?
There's no poo dags. They're
Are you joking? Sorry, there's hair that like grows
No,
around the
no.
anus, and then what if they do a poo and
Okay.
it sticks to their anus?
no issue for the short-haired black
Yeah.
lab. The
Oh,
Goldie again has
true.
no issues. It's all kind of designed to just so they don't need toilet paper out in the wild.
Do you reckon you'd rather a dog that doesn't shed but has poo dags or a dog that sheds that you don't have to clean your poo dags off? I would rather a non-shedder and
So
poo
would
dags.
I.
No. I've got the opposite to that. And I
Yeah.
prefer that. I like it that way.
But Mum cleans Dot's anus and eyes every single day.
What are we doing here?
What about anal glands?
Oh, that's another thing. Minnie used to come in from outside sometimes and she used to just rub her anus along the floor. You know how with the front, you're sitting in a seated position, the dog, and then with its front legs, it's just pulling
Drag
itself
its nose.
along. Oh,
There's a lot more issues with the designer dogs, the little dogs.
Yes.
My big brutes don't have any of that.
Yeah, okay. Right. So there's positives and negatives. But I think I don't know whether I've mentioned it on here before, probably, but I've looked after a dog with severe anal gland issues. And God, I love taking it to the vet. It's my favourite
So,
thing and getting them leaked.
this is not a. I
No,
feel like,
milked,
yes, milked.
milked.
That's what I was going to ask.
Milked.
Do you have to milk them?
No.
The vet
You let
does
them,
it.
when I was looking after this dog, you just let the glands build up. This is when I'm looking after it for like 2 weeks and then I would take it and it would be milked.
Are the glands out? Can you see the glands?
They sort of start bulging.
So could you have grabbed it and milked
Oh,
it if
God,
you
yeah.
wanted? Why didn't you try?
Because but it stinks. I like the idea of it, but I don't want to be
Is
involved.
that a milky, mucusy texture? What's the texture?
It's like this. I can only speak for this experience. It's like a runny pus. On that
I
note,
feel like I would froth watching that. Do you know what I've realised though? That I did the ear thing
yeah.
back in the I would massage mum's feet days. And that now makes me feel really sick. There's something not quite right with me back in those days.
Last thing on dogs. How bad is dog bad breath? Do your dogs get bad breath?
Oh, it's the worst.
Do you-
Especially our couch, like where you sit. It's at a good height for them. so they'll be really close to your face.
No.
And do they sleep up next to you? They sleep on your bed, don't they?
No, not in the bed anymore. They used to, actually. But they sleep in the bedroom. But when they need to go out to the toilet in the middle of the night, because they're elderly, they'll come out. They might breathe or do a, just a rub their... But the problem is, so the black lab, he likes to treat himself to some...
Poo.
To some treats left in the backyard that he or his brother have left in the backyard.
Dogs eat their own poo. That ain't right.
So the way it was described to me, it was like they see it as like chocolate and they're just having a treat. So I've looked at Tim Tams in a whole other light since hearing that. But if he goes out and does that, I don't enjoy when he comes up to me next and rubs his face in mine.
Do you know what would be worse than me eating my own poops? Me eating your poops.
Or me eating your vomit.
So, like, if those dogs are eating each other's poops, that is just so offensive.
Can I ask, you flagged at the start of this, don't worry, this is not going to be gross vomit chat.
I know.
Is this what, better or worse in your eyes?
Sorry, I didn't expect it to go quite as horrific. Just last thing, even though I keep saying last thing. So do you clean your dog's teeth?
No, you don't clean the teeth. You give them...
a chew thing that's like a minty.
Chews, those chew treats, or you give them bones and stuff. But yeah,
because Mum's recently started letting the dog sleep in with her rather than the laundry, and she said the other night,
and Dad, by the way, and Mum and Dad,
and she said the other night, Dot woke her up like licking her face, and he was like,
because Dad always we do sometimes kiss our dog in Adelaide, and Dad always goes, "Don't let the dog kiss you,
like lick you on the
disgusting, and
mouth,
so many germs and stuff." And that is true. You have goes at me for some gross stuff I do, and you let the dog lick you and kiss you, and it's been eating its own poo and other dogs' poo and vomit and everything. Feces. So
feces.
You're gross.
You're gross. Let's try the line.
Okay. All right. So we play some audio, a line, or a quote. A quote. I do this every time I say quote. A quote from a reality TV show, and then we have to guess the next line. Now, Dingleberry scores. Eliza is on 2, I'm on 1. I reckon we have now done, how many of these?
A lot.
50?
Yeah, I'm ashamed
We're
with that
very
score
bad.
because we claim to watch a lot of reality TV.
I know. Our producers have picked the audio we are about to hear. This is from The Simple Life. Oh, what a heaven show. American reality TV series starring Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. It depicts the two wealthy socialites as they struggle to do menial, low-paying jobs. Which one do you reckon you would be and which one would I be? You'd be Nicole Richie for sure.
All I need to say about this is we're the modern day
We
Simple
actually
Life
are.
characters, don't you reckon?
Yes.
Two sheltered, clueless gals.
Absolutely.
who-
Trying things.
Trying things that we'd rather not do.
Okay, so are you happy with the fact you would be Nicole Richie?
No, I'd be Paris.
Why?
She's probably the most daft. The most daft deer in headlights. And Nicole Richie's a bit more go-getter. Rich
Okay.
agrees with that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right, so this is from the very first episode they did. You'll hear Paris first and then Nicole. Let's play the audio.
I never had a job, ever. Did you? I've never had a job. I have been a...
Okay, so they say, I've never had a job ever. Did you? I've never had a job. I've been a... What had Nicole Richie been before the show? How old were they, just quickly?
Oh,
Here. Do you reckon they were like early
21 or
20s?
something, surely. But they can't have done any type of real job.
Surely, because they both grew up in very
Pretentious,
wealthy,
yes.
successful families.
All they've done is socialite.
Because Nicole Richie was adopted by Lionel Richie, who's the singer.
Yes.
And then Paris.
Yeah, she's adopted. Did you not know that?
Didn't you?
I think Lionel, I fell down a hole Googling this once. I think Lionel adopted her from, I think, his friend who was struggling.
Yes, that's true.
Something like
that is
that.
true. And then Paris obviously comes from
The Hilton
what's
family,
the-
Kathy. Oh,
who
what
we
a vibe she
froth
is.
on Desperate Housewives. Desperate Housewives?
No, Housewives of Beverly Hills.
So yeah, neither of them have needed to have jobs.
So I reckon what we're running with here is something non-job related.
Yep.
So can I tell you what I think?
Absolutely.
I've been a really, really, really good Nepo baby. Do you know what?
Nepo baby?
So it's short for nepotism baby. And it's a person who gains success or opportunities through family connections, especially a child of a famous parent. I Googled that and got the actual definition because I knew you'd ask that. For some reason, I just vibed that you wouldn't
Really?
understand what that was.
Okay, thank you so much. My guess is I've been a daddy's little princess my whole life.
Likely. Highly
Very
likely.
practical,
Yeah.
as always. All right, let's hear what it was.
Figure skater.
Figure skater? What?
That has blown my mind. That has blown my tiny little mind. But I can picture Nicole as a figure skater.
So could I, but I mean, that's not. Yeah, I guess that makes sense because it's not a job.
Is that
it's
what she
more
said,
of a
figure
hobby.
skater?
Yeah, figure skater.
Figure skater.
Figure skater. Wow.
That's not a job, so she's obviously just done it for fun.
Yeah.
Now we need to Google that and see if she was like a professional, that she did competitions and.
I can picture. She looks like the little ballerina that you get when you open a toy box. No, what are they called? The little jewelry boxes.
Yeah.
That's
that
what she
spin
looks
around.
like. Yeah.
Wow, that's actually very fascinating.
On the back of that, I would like to make a statement about the fact that I was forced to get a job when I was 13 years old.
Do you know what? It was like something like 13 and 7 months or something. You had to be of legal age to get a job. Wasn't it something like that back when in the day?
I was barely out the womb.
I know. I agree. So did I. You're looking at me as if you were the only one that had to do that.
I feel like you weren't forced to do it as late as me. You got a much easier run than I ever did.
That is so untrue. What was your
Bar
first?
the whole hair gear.
Yeah.
You had it a
And,
lot easier.
and massaging mum's feet. I was essentially like a child slave in our home.
Yeah.
What was your first job?
Well, do you know why we got jobs? Is because Dad made us. Because because he grew up, from coming from nothing and great. Instill those values in us 100%. 13, in my opinion, is too young.
Well, it's got us to where we are today.
Like, it's one thing to want to teach your kids how to earn money, but that was slave labour gear.
I disagree.
Like, I would have been happy with just putting the bins out for some pocket money.
Well, I think we probably got that too, but
I would go straight from school at 3:30 p.m, get changed in the car, so putting my anus up on the window, mooning people trying to get changed, to clock on at 3:45, and then I would clock off again about 7:30 p.m. R.I.P. me then coming home, doing my homework, eating, and trying to get to bed at a reasonable hour.
oh, you poor you would have had so much going on at 13.
I was a dead set cooker. That's what I was.
Well, lucky you had a reasonable shift. I would go to my shift at the news agency, which was my first job, from 4 till 5:30. That was my shift, an hour and a half. Because it was only open till 5:30. So 4 to 5:30 was my shift, an hour and a half, and I got something like $12 an hour. So I'd be literally earning $30 in a day.
Lib, I was paid. I found an old time sheet. What are they called?
Horty
time
McWhorter.
slip.
Jesus. A pay slip from when you're 13 you've kept.
$7 an hour.
Yeah.
I spent more on a bus ticket getting
You
there.
never caught the bus.
I never
did you,
got the
actual
bus, but
spell?
that wasn't the point. So some of my mates didn't have jobs till uni. That's just not fair. I wanted to be one of those people.
I think it's made us into like resilient, good people though, and we've learned a lot. You learn more in the real world doing stuff like that than you did at school and uni, I think.
My first job, to answer your question, which I didn't initially answer, was at Wendy's. And Wendy's was an ice cream fast food type of joint in Adelaide, because we were in Adelaide at that point.
It was basically, it was like sort of an ice cream shop mainly, but it had these heaven hot dogs
heaven hot dogs.
You would have put garlic butter, cheese. Oh, heaven.
The condiments I would put on those bad boys. I would have onion butter, garlic butter, grated cheese, barbecue sauce, tomato sauce, and 2 types of mustards.
That was
Those throbbers would be absolutely
Yeah.
dripping.
yum.
Yum. They also did a really great crunchy thick shake.
Oh my God, I forgot
Yeah.
about those. They were iconic.
Do you know what else? Chocolo, which are
what was that? Low-fat chocolate.
soft serve that look like little turds.
But wasn't that low fat
Turds on
or
a
something?
cone. Low fat chocolate turds on a cone.
Oh my God.
Gorgeous. Bring
'Cause
back the
don't-
chocolo.
Don't mistake this for the Wendy's that's in America that's
Yeah.
a fast food joint. This was its own entity in
Yeah.
Australia, and it was heaven on
Heaven.
earth. Was it the only one in Australia, or did they have, I mean,
No, there was more. Have
Was
you heard of
there?
it? You're not even from Adelaide.
Yeah, it wasn't just in Adelaide.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
we should open up another Wendy's.
I think they still exist.
No.
I reckon there's one at Victor Harbour Live or something, or Goolwa down the Florida Peninsula. Anyway, but $7 an hour is daylight robbery. Honest to God.
Yeah, but you didn't think that back when you were 13.
I remember not being overly happy about it. No wonder my cholesterol was so high. Is because I would have 3 of
Did you
crunchy
get it
thick
for free?
shakes a shift.
Did you get to
No,
just
I
eat?
think we didn't even get free. I think we only got a discount.
Oh.
I know. But
So you spent literally all your money that you earned in that
Yes.
shift you would spend on hot dogs
yeah,
and
correct.
chocolate
Yeah.
and crunchy thick shakes.
And that's still what I'm doing to this very day, spending all my money on,
Yeah, on
hot dogs.
food.
But I know we said we weren't going to talk about vomit.
Yeah.
Just a really quick
Oh,
story I
I
thought of.
remember this.
So when I was working at said Wendy's, there was a gastro bug going around, and I was doing all the shifts because everyone had gone down. And there was this one Saturday, and I went on my lunch break and I had my dripping hot dog and my giant crunchy thick shake with extra crunchy bits and extra crunchy squirts, and downed that because you had about 8 minutes for your break. And then I came back and my stomach started to churn. And I flagged that I wasn't feeling wonderful. And they said, you need to leave immediately because this gastro bug is going around. Like, call your mum. Because I was that bloody young, fresh out the womb, that I couldn't even drive at this point. So mum came and picked me up. And as we're driving home, I just went grey and opened my mouth. And it was a fountain of hot dogs and chocolate crunchy.
Did you vomit into a bag or something? At least were
I
you prepared?
caught it in my Wendy's apron. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that is something that really sticks out. I don't think I could actually eat again after that. Not eat in general. Obviously, I could eat again in general.
But
I
the
eat
hot
quite
dogs.
significantly, but those 2 items, I don't think I could face again.
I think that only lasted for a week or so, though.
But if that was my child, like I was mum's child, I would have opened the door, popped me out on the curb, left me for someone else to deal with,
I would have kicked you.
and then set the
out.
car alight.
Yeah. Same.
I'm not dealing with that gear. Never, never,
Mum's
never,
all right
never.
with that, though, because she was a midwife. So I
Yeah.
feel like she's dealt with all that stuff. And so she's okay.
That's where a chundy bib that we discussed the
Yes,
other
the
week
chundy
of
bibs.
like a bucket on a bib,
Yeah.
it would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Even on when I was a teenager at that point.
Well, I've got some funny stories from
Okay.
when I worked at this news agency because it should just not fly these days. So I was obsessed with magazines. I went and did work experience at Dolly magazine and stuff like that.
Yep.
Loved anything to do with it. So we could, at the end of our shift, take home as many magazines as we wanted, literally go along, pick up all the magazines and take them home, read them, and then bring them back, try and keep them in good condition.
And sell them.
Not sell them, but you could just bring them back at the end of your shift. But now, as if you would be able
Sorry,
to do
I'm
that now.
confused about what you're saying.
So
you're
I
saying
could
that
take
you
at
would
the end
take
of my shift,
yeah,
I could get as many magazines home as
Yeah.
I wanted,
yeah.
take them, read them at home, and then bring them back the next shift and
To
put them
sell
back on
them.
the shelf.
Yes, to sell
Oh,
them.
Sorry, I
You
thought
said
meant not
me
to
sell them.
Oh, I thought you meant sell them to my mates
Yeah,
at home.
I was like, why is that controversial? Yeah, sell them. Yeah, that's dodgy
sorry,
as all
yeah,
shit.
you could not do that now.
No.
That's like, and I would often, they'd be dog-eared and all that sort
Yeah.
of stuff.
And have little samples and all sorts.
And remember the magazines that were around Grazia and
No.
OK
I don't read.
magazine? And
I think they're still around, Angel.
Do you know what? I reckon this is when my binge shopping started because I would buy that much crap from the news agency. Remember the stuff that they would sell in a news agency? Like
Little trinkets.
alarm clocks and, a nice little fluoro emu bag or a pair of seashell earrings or...
bag, a fluoro emu
I'm just
bag?
saying, like I'm just giving an example,
Wow,
doll.
eh?
I also remember I, at 13 and 7 months, was selling people lotto tickets and scratchies.
Yeah,
and that is
that's
so
illegal, I
highly
think.
illegal. You had to be 16 to do that.
Did you?
Yeah,
But
but
just
once
said
again, I
carry
would just
on.
do it because I think they just needed people to do it.
I actually worked a couple of shifts there, and I
did.
just remember dusting as slowly
yeah.
and as lengthily, I don't
Yeah.
think that's a word, as possible to make the shift go by.
Because all you would do, I spent my whole job taking things off the shelf, dusting it, cleaning it with Windex or whatever you use, putting it back on again, and you'd make your way around the shop.
Yeah.
And then you'd finish
Your
and
shift
you'd
would
just
be over.
start again.
Stunning.
You'd start again the next time.
Anything else?
No.
I worked at a catering company. That was fun. That was a cruisy with all my mates. We just stand there gossiping over making chicken sambos.
Yum, chicken sambos.
One
There's nothing better
for the
than
client,
chicken sambos.
one for me. is
Well,
how it
I
went.
actually, my next job was at Pasta Deli. Did you work there for a bit too? I feel like
Nah.
you just followed
I
me
just
to all
ate.
these places.
I think I just sat there and ate.
But this was basically a place where it was just pasta and salads for sale. And as soon as they would go out of date, we could take them home. So our freezer at home was just full of pasta deli, and that is my dream meal. So that was absolute heaven to me.
The worst thing about child slave labour is working on weekends. My friends would be out living their best lives, and I would be there scooping ice cream until
But at
midnight.
least on a Sunday you'd get paid time and a half, so you get $14 apart from not $7 for your shift.
Wonderful. How lucky. I didn't expect that Try the Line to open up so much.
How wonderful.
So many old wounds.
To revisit those memories.
We'll be back in your ears Thursday, guys, to have a big old bitch about being the single friend who is always supporting others and maybe not getting quite as much love and support in return. The key for me, I think, which we'll discuss, is needing to maybe rejig my expectations and care a bit less. Because to be honest, my care factor is in absolute overdrive and it is eating me alive, like debilitatingly, isn't it?
And actually debilitating my life at times as well.
It's affecting you as well. And it's taking up all my precious psychology time. So hopefully I can bring some attention to the unsung and uncelebrated guys and gals
I thought
out
you were about
there.
to say heroes and call yourself
Heroes,
a hero.
we're heroes
Ugh.
who are just gagging for some love and reciprocation, you know?
God, you live a really, really tough life.
Follow Try Before You Die, wherever you get your podcast from, iApp or the iSpotify, and that's where you can also leave one of these reviews that nobody's leaving for us.
Can I also say, someone
Yeah.
wrote to us the other day in a DM being like, "Hi girls, I noticed you keep saying iSpotify. You do realise it's Spotify. We do realise this. We
It's
just
a-
say it as a joke."
It's a play on words. We also are available on the iYouTube.
Yep.
Instagram.
I know now.
TikTok. I know now. Okay.
All right, we'll see you on Thursday.
Try before you die.